Hey everybody, it's Brian Asbury, and I just wanted to welcome you to today's episode. If you could, like today's episode, hit that subscribe button, and let's continue to grow the developmentally speaking brand. Today, my guest is former WWE developmental talent. You may remember him as Chad Baxter. Derek, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for asking, Brian. How are you?
Good, just getting moved into my new house, getting stuff organized, and looking forward to doing this interview.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, by the way.
Thank you. I'm going to ask you a question that you've probably been asked a dozen times. What made you want to get into professional wrestling?
What made me want to, well, isn't it every kid's dream from the moment they're little to be a pro wrestler? It
Absolutely.
really is from when you're fighting when you're out at recess with your friends in elementary school, just wrestling around in the playground. Just ever since then, I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. An opportunity ended up not only from like recess from like kindergarten, first grade, but then an opportunity presented itself for my amateur wrestling. It was at the NAIA National Wrestling Tournament in 2011 where Gerald Briscoe, got my contact information from my college wrestling coach, and he reached out and asked if I was interested in pursuing a career with the WWE.
And what was that initial reaction?
Well, that initial reaction right away, I thought it was my father setting one of his friends up to kind of mess with me. Because all I knew my entire life was school, homework, wrestling. School, homework, wrestling, the gym. And my dad always said, once college wrestling is done, it's on to real life, and you're going to have to find a big boy job
Hmm.
and have to take on some big boy responsibilities. So the moment I got that call, I'm like, oh, it's my dad messing with me, he losing a poke fun just because I have no direction of what I want to do with my life. Like most college athletes and college students, they don't have a direction of what they want to do because they know is just school,
Hmm.
school, homework, coming home, and no one wants to just wake up working a dead end gig that they hate. So the moment I found out it was real, it was actually Gerald Briscoe. So he emailed me as well. So I was like, okay, not only did I get a voicemail, I also got an email. This has to be legit. Um, so they flew me down to FCW, which is Florida Championship Wrestling down in Tampa. And this was prior to NXT, developmental territory. And I tried out, and about a month later was when they actually offered me a contract. And it was then and there I looked at my pops and I'm like, Dad, it looks like I can make a career off of lifting weights and wrestling. Weird, right?
How was that tryout at FCW?
It was cool. It was cool, They gave me a mic and they said get up there and speak, and they put me through a couple blow up drills. Doctor that was like the Dr. Tom Pritchard era, right
Hmm.
before it transitioned to the Build the Mod era. So some blow up drills, uh, creative. Dusty Rhodes, R.I.P. Rest easy, Dusty. But he's the one that actually came up with my name, Chad Baxter. um, but yeah, it was a cool tryout. Everyone was very very kind. Um, I mean, yeah, they were very very kind, very very welcoming up front. I was learning the lingo, like gimmick, heat. Say you don't want to get heat. Some of the locker room talk, the locker room etiquette.
Hmm.
There's a lot of unwritten rules in pro wrestling, and thinking back on it now, I'm like, wow, because again, I came from an amateur wrestling background.
Hmm.
My very first time I ever stepped foot in a ring was up in Canada with Smith Hart, the Hart family. They invited me up there to train with them for 6 weeks before I actually was shipped off to Tampa.
How was training with the Hart family?
Bruce and Smith, Teddy Hart, Matt Hart. Oh, it was a great time. It was a great time.
And when you
I feel like we spent more time partying than learning the sport, learning the art of wrestling. That's for sure.
oh,
Because all right, am I going to learn how to put on a show?
So when it
Hang out.
came time and they reached out for you to do your developmental deal, how quickly after did you relocate to Tampa, and how was that process?
Um, Thinking about it, it really was a smooth process, but at the time, it was the longest waiting game ever.
Hmm.
I got my degree in criminal justice with an emphasis of political science, and I got bills, and I wanted to make money. So in between school, graduating, and WWE, I was working odd jobs just because majority of the people who knew me in Northeast Ohio, it was out there.
Hmm.
I was a signed athlete to WWE. So I was just doing what I needed to do. I was bouncing on the weekends, um, building basements, doing a lot of landscaping just for under the table work until I could actually get off to WWE and actually start with them. So it seemed like an eternity being. And again, I'm a guy that has ADD and I don't have patience.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's get the ball on the road. Super, super urgent, especially when I know what I want.
Hmm. So when you get to FCW, was it everything you thought it would be?
No,
No.
definitely was not. No. Um, but again, I am not going to. Since I'll put it to you this way, Brian. Since being employed with the WWE, had I known what I know now, then
Hmm.
I may still be with the company. I might, heck, I'd probably be in a few movies at this point in time. Um, you got to play the game.
Hmm.
I went in there. I was young. I was immature. A lot of life lessons were taught to me in my early 20s around that time. A lot of character was built. I'll put it to you that way. And a lot of those life lessons and a lot of the character that was built, I now run with my own business in the insurance business.
So when you got signed in your training, did they look at you as an outsider coming in, like you weren't one of the boys, or did? Because some people I've interviewed, if you're not like pro wrestling, and you come in, there's a target on your back.
Oh, of course, I had to
Yeah.
be ready. I was black. I was considered the black sheep the moment I walked through the doors of FCW. But it was so weird because when I was trying out, everyone was so kind. It
Hmm.
was like they're literally, it was like a masterpiece they painted in my head. I could see the vision. I'm like, wow, this sounds amazing. This is amazing. But then again, doesn't every single salesman like portray this amazing opportunity? Oh, this car has this, that, the gadget's gonna get you from point A to point B. Just drive it off in the sunset, pedal to the metal, drive that Ferrari on.
Hmm.
All of a sudden it happens, and it just wait a minute. This isn't what I was told.
Hmm.
It's a business. It is a business. Um, I clearly was not what they were looking for. I lasted one calendar year. I had a 3-year developmental contract. I lasted one calendar year. Again, a lot. I don't regret it at
Hmm.
all. I am the man I am today based on the failures and mistakes I made in the past.
Hmm.
Had I not made those decisions, where I fell on my face time and time again, I may become a statistic and just given up on every single thing I ever set out to achieve or
Hmm.
every single thing I set out to pursue. You know.
How
Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say, how was working with the trainers at FCW? Was there one that worked with you particularly more than others?
No, not so much. I was getting squashed quite a bit, constantly. It seemed definitely had me losing a lot more than winning.
Hmm.
Um, which I mean, again, I was very very grateful, and I was very appreciative that they actually had me on all the live events that they did have me. You
Hmm.
know, there were some people down there that never got any ring time, never got the opportunity to showcase their talent and ability in front of a crowd. And that was what kind of was confusing because I tried a few different stints. I even dyed my hair. Spent countless amounts of money on different gear. Printed out 10-page novels for creative on how they could use my character,
Mm-hmm.
which oddly enough, a lot of my ideas that I put on paper and gave to creative, I I noticed a couple months later, a year later, being used by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I have this right here, and I have it dated when I sent this to creative. But it's neither here nor there, man, because anyone can sound better, and I'm not trying to be any. I'm not trying to be like majority, if not all. Because I've had my stage where I was bitter. Yes, I was bitter. I was upset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your dream is ripped from you. Every single person, when they're from the time they're young, from a little kid, they want to be a professional wrestler. They want to be a WWE superstar. They
Mm-hmm.
just want a shot. They want that opportunity. I unfortunately myself, I dropped the ball. So yeah, I was bitter at the time. Yeah, I was disgruntled at the time, and I still don't really have any clear answers as to why I was let go,
Mm-hmm.
why my tech was let go, even why my manager at that specific time was let go. It's ask your trainer. Your trainer will give you the exit interview. So again, I want
Mm-hmm.
an exit interview in a sense. I kind of want to learn from my mistakes so I don't make those same mistakes again. Went up to my trainer. Bill DeMott says, talk to creative. Well, Bill, creative told me to come to you, so then
Mm-hmm.
before you know it, like, all right, back and forth, just not what they want.
Mm-hmm. Do
Yeah.
you do you feel like FCW was overcrowded for the size that it was?
Oh man, you see, that's the thing, Brian. I only know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
Think back on it. I only knew what I knew, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I don't know anything other than FCW.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only promotion or only company I worked for. Yeah, there was a lot of talent crammed into that facility where there was 3 rings. Um, but within, if you look back at that roster, though, that's a hell of a roster.
Mm-hmm.
Pumped out of that FCW class from Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Lincoln Broderick, um, Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. A lot of great people came
Mm-hmm.
from there.
I always felt like when they moved to Tampa that they tried to sign like football players, athletes, wrestlers, models. They just wanted to see what they could get out of it. And before they went to NXT, maybe it was a little too much for what they had on Del Mabry.
Um, they, their their thought. You're right. You are not wrong there, sir. Because everything that has come to fruition right now, I think that was the vision that they had back then.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes time.
Yep.
Because now you have people coming in there with no, they don't know how to work a match. They don't know the psychology of a match, and it's all about business.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting asses in seats, and they're putting on a show. They want a show. People want to be entertained,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all working from all angles. Whether you're in the bodybuilding industry, the CrossFit industry, parkour industry, wrestling, and no matter what your background is,
Mm-hmm.
they're not discriminating at all. It's a business,
Mm-hmm.
and the definition of business is making money. And in that industry, they're a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's working for them,
Mm-hmm.
which is what they were angling back then, but it was not as much in 2011, 2012 when I was there. It was a minority. But
Mm-hmm.
now the roster, the WWE roster, from NXT to the main roster, look at the backgrounds
Mm-hmm.
of everyone. It's very, very diverse,
Mm-hmm.
which is what they ultimately that was the direction they were going for over a decade ago, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
really, really happy to see it all coming to light.
Now it just seems like longevity is key. They want to sign, they want to develop. Now that they have the time, the space, the environment that they can develop the talent that they've always wanted to do, like you were saying. They have the resources.
They do. They do. And now for WWE tryouts, they have hundreds of people. They have literally people waiting in line.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. They're never they run the show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they ran the show when I was there too. But again, you just got to play the game. Triple H, man, that guy knows how to play the game. His There's always been an encrypted message with his entrance music, always.
Mm-hmm.
And he got in with the boss's daughter. Come on, can't go wrong.
Nope.
Huh. Got his meal ticket then and there.
Mm-hmm.
And he embraced it. He pretty much lived his gimmick. Embraced it. That's not throwing shade his way.
Mm-mm.
What a genius! Imagine if everyone played the game and did focus, stayed in their lane, didn't look to the left or look to the right, just focused on their responsibilities and what they were supposed to do. But again, that's part of learning. That's part of life.
Mm-hmm. As your training came along and you were developing who you were, you mentioned earlier that Dusty helped come up with your name. How did that come about?
Oh, it was so difficult because again, in my early 20s, man, I don't want to say I had an ego, but keep it 100. I'll keep it a buck. I was in my early 20s. I did have a little bit of an ego. I did have a little bit of an attitude problem. At the time, though, I didn't think I did.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't normally realize the wrong decisions you made until later on. It comes with maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So yeah, I definitely did. I'm sorry, Brian. I just blacked out a little bit. Could you repeat that question?
You said earlier that Dusty helped come up with the Chad Baxter name. How did that come about?
Hmm. That's where we got on with the ego and everything. Because I was fighting corporate about the name change.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to keep my name, Derek Ford. That's what I wanted, and kept having emails back and forth, back and forth. I couldn't come up with a name, and then finally, Dusty had a sit down with me and was like, "Listen, you got to change your name, this and the third." And he kind of broke it down and compared it to something which I related to and I understood. I'm like, all right. And some of the talent in my class always said, "Oh, you look like a Chad. You look like a Chad." And then Dusty just goes, "Chad Baxter," and then it just kind of stuck from there.
Mm-hmm.
Pitched it to corporate, and they approved it. So that was how the name Chad Baxter came about.
You. So I have a question. So when you're a college athlete and you're an athlete, is it the process a little differently? Do you have more people in your corner, like that help you navigate through these waters?
Oh, like school, like to help my tutors, my coaches, like in college.
Like when you got signed, did you have someone that represented you, like took care of you?
No, it was all on me.
Okay.
All on me. Had to figure it out, man. That plane ticket to Calgary, Canada, to train with the Hart family, that was on my dollar. Well, actually, it was on my parents' dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pay my parents back. Though. I was very, very appreciative. I was my mom and dad. They definitely went without, so my brother and myself would get taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was all said and done, eventually, when I started building a foundation, having a family quiz, now I'm a 35-year-old man. I'm a father. I'm engaged to be married. About to have another kid. About to have another daughter actually in the next 3 weeks. And then so shortly after my stint with WWE, my mom was like, okay, you possibly owe us for. They kind of gave me a little breakdown of what I owed. I was like, oh, I thought you were just doing that out of the kindness of your heart. No, so I did pay them back. I'm very, very thankful for the help that they did put me in because not a lot of people.
So when you got the name Chad Baxter, did they start developing and getting you ready more? Like trying to develop who Chad Baxter would be?
Um, Not really. We had practice couple. We'd have 2 sessions. There would be a morning session because again, there was a lot of people in our class, so there would be a morning session and then like a early afternoon session. Which the early afternoon session um, would be more for like veteran guys. The rookies, which I was normally in the morning class
Mhm.
because again I was green as they came. I was very green. I didn't know anything about professional wrestling except me being um, a mark.
Mhm.
My age is coming up in the business, you know. Um, but yeah, they didn't work with me. There'd be structured practice. Majority of the time, we're doing blow up drills,
Mhm.
blow up drills on top of blow up drills on top of blow up drills. Grape squishers, running ropes, universal spots until you puke, pretty much.
Just to see if you wanted to be here.
Yeah, that went on nonstop, and then pretty much the creative part, which would be like more so like the creative side of the business, like that wasn't really something you really ever worked on, but one day a week at promo class with
Mhm.
Dusty, one day, Wednesdays, just promo class. That's it, one day a week. The rest of the time, every single day, we're going through hell,
Mhm.
going through blow up drills. Um, I want to say the first month in, I tore my meniscus. For my meniscus, I think,
Mhm.
and again, I believe it was a universal spot where I did a leapfrog over someone and just landed wrong on my knee.
How far did that set you back? Did you work through it?
Well, I wish I would have rehabbed it.
Mhm.
It would have been the smart decision to make. Well, actually, I didn't even really have a say. I didn't know how serious the injury was, but I guess my meniscus was just looked like someone put in a blender, just chopped up. It was unrepairable, so they just shaved off like 80% of my meniscus, left me with like 20%. And since they shaved it all off, the recovery time was like 2 weeks.
Mhm.
I was back at it.
As your time went on, is there any particular moments that stand out more than others that you enjoyed?
I'm not gonna lie. Looking back, it was a good time. It
Yep.
was, although there was a lot of like, like anywhere you go, you're gonna have to go through some rookie hazing, some BS. It just wasn't. I didn't. In my honest opinion, I was not given enough. I feel like if I had more time,
Mhm.
because I'm very very coachable, and I was willing to learn to become who I ultimately wanted to become. Um, and in order to become who I wanted to become, I'm sure there'd be growing pains along the way. But
Mhm.
had I had the right coaches in my corner, I think it could have came to light. But 1 year, that really wasn't much time. However, in the business, your grading scale on how well you're doing is based on how often you're working live events.
Mhm.
But then I was working at least 2 live events a week,
Mhm.
in which there's people that were in the independent circuit that have been wrestling for years, had more experience than me in the business, that maybe working one live event a month,
Mhm.
if working.
So the time that you were in FCW was right before the launch of NXT.
Yep, literally like 6 months before the facility opened.
So did they talk about anything like that, or what was going to be changing, or is it just like this is going to be part of your routine now?
No, they didn't really talk about it. We knew that was to come, but nothing was set in stone of what the schedule was going to look like. Like for NXT taping, we still drove to Full Sail University. That
Mhm.
was where the NXT tapings, which was out, I believe in Orlando, Full Sail University. We would go there and they would do a couple. Um, they would film, but yeah, there was no ideal set game plan of what is going to happen the moment the NXT facility opened in Orlando, the training center.
You got to work a couple of matches during this time period.
Yeah.
So what was the main difference between just like the production value going into Full Sail, and you feel like more eyes were on it at that time?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
sink or swim time?
On myself.
Just in general, like you're going from the warehouse in Dale Mabry, and now they're like, "Hey, we're going to start doing these shows at Full Sail." Did it just feel like it was going to be now? There's more eyes on yourself, on the product, and this is,
Oh, absolutely. It was a total upgrade from FCW.
mm,
But the shows at FCW, the show is still going on.
yeah.
They didn't miss a beat. We were still hosting shows at FCW. Um, and then I believe the TV tapings for NXT would be once a month. We would roll out there, and that one day we'd go out there, we'd make a day out of it, and they would do 4 tapings, 4
Hmm.
episodes of it. Go back and do it, get a month's worth of footage
Hmm.
all month.
So as they're doing this and they're launching this, how long before your release came about, and was it just something you didn't see coming? It was
Dude,
just
it was all so sudden.
mm,
So sudden. I was taken back because, I mean, there there wasn't really any signs that I was on the chopping block. Because again, I was working live events. I was even getting some TV time
hmm
on TV, getting on like the very first season of NXT when they started filming at Full Sail. Granted, I was getting squashed.
hmm
Still, I was getting some time in front of a camera. Um, yeah, it was surprising. I didn't really know it was coming. I had a missed call from Stamford, Connecticut after I just went to get quick tanning. Hit the tanning bed, got out of the tanning bed, clean myself up, get my clothes on. Had a missed call from Stamford, Connecticut. I was like, huh, wonder what this is about. It was a voicemail from at the time. His name is Kenyon Seaman.
hmm
I don't know if you recall that individual. Pretty
yeah.
funny last day. Like, God, what a name. Poor guy. But yeah, so I had a voicemail to give him a call back. It was urgent. Deep inside, I'm like, what does he want? Am I getting called up? Am I about to hit the road?
hmm
Because Bill DeMott was always saying, oh, the Bombers, Chad Baxter, Chase Donovan, Nick Rogers, these guys, are going to do big things. Like, always kind of putting us over,
hmm
you know? I called my tag team partner right away. I'm like, Chase, I just had a missed call from home office. Kenyon Siemens said, give him a call. What do you think he wants, man? He's like, he wants to fire you. I just got off the phone with him. He fired me. I'm like, oh, huh, all right, let me give him a call. That was it. The rest
Uh,
is history. Again, it was nothing in life ever goes as planned.
hmm
And it is what it is. You hope for the best, but you're always prepared for the worst no matter what. The
hmm
difference between the champions, the winners, the losers, is how you respond. It's all about how you respond when things don't go your way. Because, Brian, how often has things ever gone your way throughout your life? Never does. I never thought in a million years I'd be in the life insurance business for over
hmm
10 years. Never imagined it. You kind
yeah.
of like happen and you develop a passion for those specific things that are brought to light.
hmm
Um, WWE, that was one of those instances too. I'm very thankful. I'm grateful for it. A lot of great relationships were made, lessons were made, character was built. I don't regret it, not
hmm
one bit. Now there are good stories to tell, great
How,
stories to tell.
what was your next move after your release?
After my release, I had no idea what I was gonna do.
Hmm
I've put so much time, I sacrificed so much time and effort into being a pro wrestler. Yes, I had my amateur wrestling background, which was there. Um, I believe the next Olympics weren't coming up till 2017. So I was like, what am I gonna do? I tried to make it work. There were some, because again, I had my degree in criminal justice. Was looking to get on police department. I was interviewing on top of interviewing, and I would always make it to the third and final interview and not actually get hired on for the position because I didn't have enough experience. So they were constantly using that
Mm-hmm.
excuse, Obi-Wan experience. Well, okay, got it. Good to know. So I ran out of money in Florida. Ran out of money. My dad flew down and helped me pack up my things, and I ended up moving back. It was one of the most humbling experiences I ever had to go through. I moved back to my parents' house, my childhood bedroom, um, and I lived in my childhood bedroom at the time with my ex-wife. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
was married before. It again, you live and you learn, make mistakes. It's life.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work out. Um, but yeah, kind of like shit just happens. So very, very humbling. Had to move back home with my mom and dad. And then my buddy, I was working at a gym. I did get offered to be a law enforcement officer for Cleveland
Mm-hmm.
Police Department. Little it was very, very dangerous. Inner city Cleveland, $35,000 a year. And it dawned on me, I'm like, 35,000 a year. Like, I got my degree. I went to school. I went to
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame. It's right there, right there. To this day, Brian, I have yet to ever use that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yet to ever use it, but I got it. Um, for $35,000, it's like, yeah, I pass. So then I got into commission and sales. Most people who are in commission and sales, I'm willing to bet on myself. I'm a very hard worker. Um, I'll do what I need to do to make the kind of money that I need to make and live the life that I aspire to live
Mm-hmm.
and provide. I want to provide for. Bottom line, so I got in the life insurance industry, and that was kind of like again, like from the time I got fired from WWE, falling on my face, running out of money, living at home with my parents, and just having life kick my ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and to this day, I still feel like life kicks my ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daughter will walk up to me in the middle of the day and come and punch me in the dick. It's life.
Mm-hmm.
But like I mentioned, it's how you respond. It's how you respond to it, man. When things don't go your way, when you do fall on your face,
Mm-hmm.
use lesson, just continuously fail forward. Just can never give up. And I refuse to give up, no matter what.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the direction that I'm going, like only I can make this happen, only I can make these things happen in my life for me and my kids and everything, and failing's a part of the process, and you just got to keep going, get better, learn from
You
your
got
mistakes. I got three boys.
three boys.
Yeah.
Man, I'm about to have two girls. What's the secret? What is the secret to having boys?
Well, mine are all a year apart, so they're like having them together in group. And I mean, they're gonna beat the hell out of each other. They're gonna fly off his shit. They're gonna get hurt, and it just, huh?
They're gonna get stitches.
Oh yeah. But it's the greatest thing that you could ever do in life is have kids, and you provide them the life that they deserve. The life you didn't have, to make their life better.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly, man. Well said. Um, so where are you from? I'm sorry, kind of like flip the script a little bit.
Oh no,
I'm all about relationships. My whole mission is to hopefully by the time this is all said and done, Brian, you're
mhm.
better off that we got time together than not. I'm just want to add some value.
I'm from Southern Indiana, so I'm like 40 minutes north of Louisville, 40 minutes south of Indy.
Midwest boy.
Yeah.
Champions are birthed out of the Midwest. You know what it's like. You know what it's like to drive through blizzards and snow
Hmm.
and with tornadoes, all that stuff.
All on the same day in a week.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah, right now the weather's crazy up here in Cleveland.
It's actually a nice day.
Oh, it's like 85 right now
Hmm.
out here.
So, how is everything now? We've kind of touched on it. You said you're going to have your second child. How's life after WWE?
A blessing. I'm very, very grateful for the life that I do live. I'm very grateful for the friends and family that are on my side.
Hmm.
Um, I like to say, I'm I'm very grateful. There's that sense of fulfillment. I'm not where I want to be, and I know my family's not where they want to be either. But we're definitely further ahead today than where we were yesterday. We're a team. We're a unit. We have vision. We have goals. With no vision, you shall prosper. That's a verse in the Bible, and it's so true. In order to get to where you want to go, you got to have a map. You got to have a GPS. You got to have a game plan. Otherwise, you're going to be waking up each and every day with no purpose, no sense of direction. And when you get caught up in that particular habit, you're not going to go anywhere. You'll just be like a flimsy piece of paper in the wind. Just.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, I live for my family. Live for them. Right now, my 3-year-old, she'll be 4 in August. She's just getting into gymnastics. She loves it. She loves wrestling as well. So during the winter time, we're going to the wrestling match. She's screaming, 2, that's a takedown. She gets into it. I even took her to a couple shows. She's been to a Monday Night Raw. So I get her exposed to both, you know.
Yeah.
The wrestling and the pro wrestling. Her favorite wrestler is Seth Rollins. The moment she hears the music, burn it down. But yeah, I do what I do for her and my future daughter that's coming next couple weeks. And a lot of my work buddies right now, they're actually down in Hawaii living it up because every year we have like a little work convention. Because I'm going to be having a baby so soon, and my fiance, she's in that final trimester. I'm just going to stay home, which I think I made the right decision. Because you know, Brian, you know, if you don't know, I'm sure you do. I mean, you have 3 kids. Women, if there's something they can hold over your head, they will forever. I don't need to go to Hawaii. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to look out for you. Otherwise. But she's cool. She straight up told me, she's like, oh, you worked hard. Go. Enjoy the time with your team, with your leaders, your mentors, and go relax. And I was like, you know, I appreciate you looking out for me and recognizing the effort, but I think I'm going to stay home and look out for you, babe. Because I know that's ultimately what you
You made the right decision.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Some people I know.
Well, I just want to say thank you for taking some time out to talk a little bit about your career. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and I appreciate it.
I know it's kind of like a nutshell version, like, again, there's so much more that we could talk about, man. Stories on top of stories on top of stories. But I didn't know if there was like a time frame. In my head, and again, I say this is humbling. I could possibly say it. I'm like the Dos Equis man, or I'm like Chuck Norris.
Well, let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely, I'm open to it. Maybe next time. One of my best friends is Eric Deal. His stage name, his name was Lincoln Broderick. He actually got released when I got released too. He an OVW, and now he's in the insurance industry. I kind of got him into the insurance industry after he got canned as well.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely, man, definitely.
Well, if there's anything I can ever do, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. What you can do, let me know what your website is, your podcast. I'm going to promote it and blast it out there.
Absolutely. I'll send it over to you.
Awesome. Clay, it was awesome talking to you. Thank you so much again. Honored to be part of your podcast, friend.
Thank you. I appreciate everything your time in professional wrestling. It mattered.
Hey, you know what? That means a lot. I was only there for a year, but you know what? Gosh darn it, thank you. I had to go through a knee surgery. That sacrificed a lot. I went broke.